show, but we do it because Duffy's out in Detroit for the big Buffalo Bills Detroit Lions doubleheader, and Tariq is like, what? Tariq is vacationing in Brighton, I guess today, right? Tariq, how you doing, man?
It's beautiful here. It's great. I think there's no snow, and we're all great and thankful to be here.
And Pat Duffy is living the life in Detroit. You know, now you've told me that this is something that you do on a semi-regular basis, right?
So, yeah, back in the day when I was in high school, my dad and my brother and I, we would go to every Thanksgiving NFL game, whoever was playing here in Detroit. And I'm telling you, man, if you've never been, it is one of the greatest football experiences you've ever had. It's just a bonus that the game got moved, so I got to go to 2 games in 5 days.
I love this. My son lived in Detroit for 4 years, and he never went to he never went to a Thanksgiving game there. Big Buffalo Bills fan. He moved out. As soon as he moves out, the Bills come in for 2 games. So let me start with you, Pat. So let me start with you because, like, you've told us a little bit about we're kind of getting in like traditions, not necessarily Thanksgiving traditions that we really like, but traditions that we like. This thing with Detroit is a fairly big deal for the Lions and their fans, isn't it?
I mean, look, you know, Bills and Lions fans are kind of like cousins in misery for the last couple of years, right? You take what you can get and you hold on to it dearly. And you're right, man. They take this so seriously. Like the city transforms on Thanksgiving morning. It's such a fun atmosphere. Like yesterday, I'm walking around all the shops around Ford Field. I'm literally right down the street, staying walking distance, thank goodness, because beer was flowing. And they've got the turkey hats out, and they wear, you know, they normally used to wear the throwback jerseys. Like it's a big deal here.
Yeah, they must celebrate the holidays different out there, right? Because I mean, you've got to plan your whole day around a big chunk of it being involved with a bad football team.
So, I mean, I was hanging out. I'm by myself right now. My wife and kids are flying in the day before the game because that was the game we were planning on going to anyway. I met so many people from Detroit that invited me to their tailgate party on Thursday so I could come have full turkey, mashed potatoes, dressing outside. And they used to sell, I haven't been in a couple of years, these giant turkey legs inside the game, which are delicious. So,
you know, so Pat's sampling the traditions of Detroit over Thanksgiving. What are some of it? No, again, not necessarily Thanksgiving, but an idea that, you know, a sports tradition that you're particularly fond of, Tariq.
Oh, it's got to be the game. I mean, listen, I don't know what's going to happen between Michigan and Ohio State. We're taping this now, so that game has not been played. But it's the game. It is one of those type of moments where you watch it. Maybe Army, Navy, same sort of thing, where you're kind of looking forward to it. But this is where I really get invested into college football, not just because I'm a Michigan fan, but because you just don't know what to predict. I mean, these two teams are very high ranked, trying to get into the Final Four. Every year, somebody spoils it for the other. Ohio State's really had Michigan's number over the years, but Michigan's now turned this corner. So this will be fun. I love watching the game. Next to that, Army-Navy is probably my favorite because I just like to see, no matter who scores, somebody's got to do like push-ups or sit-ups or whatever, something I'm not doing. So let's put it together.
You know, I have heard that college football people like who know the landscape say there's nothing like the Army-Navy game. My 2 favorite things are hockey, which I'm not totally invested in. I love the handshake at the end of the Stanley Cup playoff series with the 2 lines, and I love the fact that everybody on the winning team gets to carry the trophy home with them for a day. I think those are 2 of the coolest things that we have going for us in sports right now.
No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, the Stanley Cup going with everybody is especially one of them because there's been so many folks that have won the Stanley Cup in Rochester that we've got to see it a whole bunch of times, which is great. I don't know if I'm into the handshake. Like, I get it. They're all buddies. You just beat the hell out of each other for 4, 5, 6, 7 games. You cannot tell me that you enjoy on the losing side having to stand in front of everybody watching on national television and shake somebody else's hand.
I got to ask a question. I don't know. Has there ever been a fight that transpired because of that? I would hope not. But the one thing I can say about this, though, whether you're a hockey fan or not, wouldn't you like to drink from the cup one wild night? Like one wild night, like the Sabres win it all, Duffy. Wouldn't you love to have one day where you run into a Sabre player and you get to drink from the cup?
Yes, I would. But here's the thing. Going along with the traditions of the Stanley Cup, there's all kinds of weird rules about who gets to do what with it, depending on who you are. For example, like if you win the cup as a player, you're allowed to hold it over your head and drink out of it. If you win the cup as a front office member, you're not